I know we all have students who just don't get it. No matter what methods or materials we use with them, it just doesn't work. And we can quickly identify the ones who have very little interest or a lack of motivation. But what do we do with the kids who really love music and really seem to try to make it work, but they never make appreciable progress? These are our non-typical learners that we're going to explore today. Now, just what is a non-typical learner? A non-typical learner is wired to comprehend materials differently from the traditional or the typical learner. This could be the result of a learning disorder or a disability, or maybe simply a learning modality or a physical or mental challenge. Statistics tell us that 30 to 35% of our students are non-typical learners today. This is compared to 3% in the 60s and 70s and 8 to 10% in the 80s and the 90s. Chances are you have at least one or maybe several of these non-typical learners in your studio. So we're going to begin to look at these students. I'm going to work primarily with PowerPoint. So let me get my PowerPoint started. Here we are. Characteristics of challenged students. Challenged students will have trouble focusing and concentrating. These are the students that'll be the most prevalent in your studio. These are probably the ones who have ADD or ADHD. They will just not be with you a lot of the time. You're going to have students who have difficulty with organization. These are the students who come to lessons with the wrong materials or half of their materials or no materials at all. They never quite remember their assignment or what they were supposed to do. You will have students who have problems following directions and learning routines. They just never quite understand what they're supposed to do. Many of them will be hampered with a slow working pace, and as a result, they will have trouble managing their time and often will not get their work done. Some of your students will have trouble with retention of facts and with memorization. Others will have problems with coordination, especially between their hands and their eyes, and between their hands, eyes, and keyboards. A few students will have trouble with spatial relationships. This is knowing the difference between up and down and right and left and discrimination on the staff and where the notes are moving. And some students will have trouble with sequencing. In sequencing, a lot of it is with the alphabet, and they also have trouble telling you what comes before or after or above or below. Now, all of these challenges or symptoms are indications of learning problems. We as teachers cannot diagnose a disability or disorder, but we can identify challenge areas. We can attempt to facilitate a student's learning experience and make it as positive as possible. So let's begin our journey and seeing what we're going to do. The first thing that we must do is establish our goals. And our goals almost have to start with what we will not do.